Hey guys, Eustace here. Gonna do something a little different today, I guess. I've never done anything like this before, but this is gonna be kind of a longer video. I was watching Leaflet's stream the other day, and she's reacting to these videos by Jackson, and then she did another video today, and some of it was just really frustrating me. So I feel like I just need to jump in the middle of I'm gonna self-insert myself into myself. Get your mind out of the gutter. What are you thinking about? Anyway, long story short, I guess, let's see. So, Rev made a comment based on what this other VTuber said. Miss Lala said, fuck ice. And then Rev said this. And then Jackson got in the middle of it. And so then Leaflet responded to it. And so then Jackson made this video about right-wing VTuber grifters. And then Leaflet responded to that. And it's just been a roller coaster. It's just, drama. It's drama. Who cares? Drama. So anyway, Jackson made another video, and a big part of it has to do with the using the wrong VTuber model, used Leaflet's mom instead of Leaflet. But anyway, I just want to go through this video just a little bit at a time, I guess. Bear with me, okay? This is gonna be probably really painful because I'm doing it on the fly and I'm not recording it and putting it all together and editing it like I probably should. But anyway, yep. Just bear with me. We'll get through this together, okay? It'll be fun or something.
Another beautiful day of acknowledging my privilege and being a libcuck. Well, time to drink my morning estrogen shake and then head to my job at the gender reassignment factory. Better check the comments on my video first and see what the chuds are saying today.
The chuds.
Wait.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. It's the wrong one.
No.
Fuck, I forgot that they're two different people.
Yeah,
Stupid about
alright,
first image
skip,
word.
skip,
You know,
skip,
annually
skip,
thumbnail
skip,
to the
skip,
stupid
skip,
and
skip.
this was human based. There's one thing I want to respond to completely seriously with no joking or anything like that.
No joking.
I have not and would never call for any of you to be attacked or physically harmed in any way.
Except you wear a hat that says this machine kills fascists, and you're calling them all fascists. Just saying.
And I also never called you Nazis or fascists, or even implied that you were. I think you know all of that. I think you might be intentionally framing it as though I'm calling for that to rile up a response against me, which I think is pretty disgusting and irresponsible, but I just wanted to make that clear. If you have a problem with my hat, just Google Woody Guthrie. He famously wrote this slogan on his guitar to represent the idea that art could fight back against the rise of fascism. If you have a problem with this video, take it up with Dan Harmon. That's his rant. Yes, the community guy. Yes, the Rick and Morty guy. I just thought his rant went pretty hard. In an ideal world, anyone actually goose-stepping down Main Street waving swastika flags would probably be tried for treason, but I don't actually think any of you are that kind of person, and I never said you were. I don't think I even implied that you were. It's frustrating when people like you and a lot of the people in my comments will say things like, oh, come on, man, how come you hate me for my words and my politics? It's just speech, bro. Like, it's not real. Because none of the negative consequences of your votes affect you. You aren't getting kidnapped by mass federal agents on the way to work because of the color of your skin or your accent, even though you're a citizen. You aren't having your access to doctor-prescribed medication taken away from you because of religious nutjobs who want to impose their morality on this entire country. You didn't lose your job because of tariffs that are wreaking havoc on our economy for no good reason. You aren't a child who will suffer from a preventable disease as a result of Robert F. Kennedy's undermining of vaccinations and the entirety of our healthcare system. I assume your parents probably vaccinated you. You aren't dying in a hospital bed in Texas because the doctors are too afraid of being prosecuted for removing your non-viable fetus that is literally killing you.
That doesn't
You
happen.
aren't laying somewhere in a bed dying because USAID used to pay for your treatment until Elon Musk decided to take a break from
USAID's a
begging
scam. No one
Epstein for an
cares.
invite to his pedo island to kill that program,
Elon's
dooming
never been to the
thousands of
island.
people to death. Not losing an energy drink sponsor, not just getting called mean names, not people on the internet being nasty to you, death because of this disgusting pedo ghoul that you all spend day after day shilling for because a trans girl won a sport once. This isn't the type of response video where I'm going to sit here watching all their videos, going through everything point by point. I just want to hit on one big topic because I think it's at the core of our disagreement over ICE's recent activities.
The reason there's so many ICE agents in Minneapolis is because the police refused to help them, and they needed backup from more ICE agents in order to protect the ICE agents that were doing the arrests. So in Texas and Florida, the actual state of Texas, the actual state of Florida, and the local police are actually helping. They're helping with the crime aspect, the protest aspect. So they don't have to worry about that. They don't need as many people.
This idea.
Correct. And all of those places that Leaflet just mentioned, ICE is operating and there are zero protests. No one is dying because the local law enforcement is engaging with ICE and helping to deport the illegals. It's simple. I don't know why it's so hard.
Idea that they are conducting, in the words of the DHS, the largest immigration enforcement operation in Minnesota simply because they have illegal immigrants and the state doesn't cooperate with them is a lie. And it's not even a very good
That's your opinion, and your opinion this time is incorrect.
lie. The White House has openly stated that this operation was about fraud. Here's a timeline for those of you who are not aware. December 2nd, Trump says he doesn't want...
I just want to point out that all of your sources are from the Associated Press. Just so you know. It's left-leaning based on the framing and word choices they use. So everything that you're about to quote is gonna be left-leaning. Huh. Interesting.
Somalis in the US. This was after he went on social media to allege that Minnesota is a hub of fraudulent money laundering activity, referring to a recent story ran by a conservative news outlet, City Journal, which claimed that taxpayer dollars from defrauded government programs have flowed to the Somali militant group Al-Shabaab. Also on December 2nd, a source tells Associated Press that federal authorities are preparing a targeted immigration enforcement operation in Minnesota that would primarily focus on Somali immigrants. December 4th, Operation Metro Surge begins in Minnesota. December 8th, Trump has linked his administration's immigration crackdown against Minnesota's large Somali community to a series of fraud cases involving government programs in which many defendants have roots in an East African country. December 26th, Nick Shirley's fraud video is released and goes viral. January 2nd, the White House doubles down on the idea that operations in Minnesota are related to fraud by Somalis. They specifically mention the Nick Shirley video. January 6th, more than 2,000 agents are sent to Minnesota, making Metro Surge the largest operation of its kind in the country. Throughout this entire chain of events, the Trump administration repeatedly linked Metro Surge to Somali fraud in that state. Aside from that, if this operation was just about illegal immigration, then why did Pam Bondi pressure them to turn over their voter rolls?
So, it's linked to fraud, yes. However, the massive amount of ICE officers and border control officers that went there was to help keep the peace so that ICE can operate normally, because the local police wasn't doing anything. The core issue is that the ICE is trying to do their immigration enforcement, and you've got these large mobs of people that are rioting and protesting against ICE. And since the local law enforcement is not helping to mitigate these violent outbursts and extremists and organized paid agitators, you have to send in more federal officers to offset what they're not getting from the local enforcement. if the local government and the state government had just worked together with ICE, it it would have been a lot easier, and the whole thing would have been avoided. I don't understand what the problem is here. What else? What did you say? You said something else so stupid.
Aside from that, if this operation was just about illegal immigration, then why did Pam Bondi pressure them to turn over their voter rolls? If I
Oh, yeah, okay. So it's not necessarily that Pam Bondi like pressured them to turn over the voter rolls. It's they made a deal basically. Like Tim Walz basically said, "I want ICE out," and Pam Bondi said, "Well, if you want us to reduce our footprint, then we want this in return." That's pretty much it, and that's why you saw that shift from Tim Walz and Mayor Fry not working with ICE at all to overnight suddenly working with ICE and allowing ICE into the detention facilities. It's really simple. It was a political deal.
ICE's activity is only about illegal immigration, then why did Brian Kilmeade from Fox openly admit that they're winding down a
Yeah, if I remember correctly, they relocated some of these officers to go help in some of the other states that they needed more officers in. And because the majority of their their high priority targets were already in custody, they didn't need as many there. And then also, you're quoting a journalist? Okay, sure. Keep going.
little in Maine to help Senator Susan Collins? These people aren't even bothering to lie about what the reason is, but here you are lying for them for what? Just the love of the game?
But the reason why people don't like Tim Walz is because all of this fraud happened underneath him. That's why. That's why people are mad at him.
So we know the pretext for this,
It's not just
and
that,
everything
he's
that
an
happened
idiot.
after it is the Somali fraud scandal. We hate Tim Walz and we're sending ICE to harass his constituents because the fraud happened on his watch and he must
No.
be somehow complicit. Except he wasn't. Governor Walz worked through 2025 pushing new measures to fight fraud in that state. The only reason Nick Shirley even knew about the fraud in Minnesota in the first place is because there had been open prosecutions and convictions on these cases since the Biden administration. None of the businesses featured in Nick Shirley's video have been found to have committed any fraud. But okay, still, the fraud happened on Tim's watch. It still is a responsibility, so hating Tim Walz is still valid. Okay,
Yeah, I
sure.
don't think anybody hates
By the
him,
way,
though.
what's Donald Trump's
Oh.
record on fraud? The Small Business Administration
Okay, this is the main thing that it really bothered me. I just had to stop and go through this because I just, gosh dang it. Okay, all right. One at a time here.
Office of Inspector General estimates that over $200 billion in potentially fraudulent economic injury disaster loans and payment protection program funds were dispersed.
Okay, so I want to point out that the source is NPR, and they are also left-leaning, so the terminology in here is a little slanted. I mean, just take the top paragraph here. Let's see. It ends with 17% may have gone to scammers. Like they don't know. And the bottom part one. Let's see, the SBA estimates that almost 90% of the potential fraud. Okay. So nope, there's no proof. It's just a big question mark. It's a talking point.
SBA officials have noted that 86% of this likely fraud occurred in the first 9 months of the pandemic under the Trump administration. COVID fraud is considered to be possibly the largest fraud scandal in American history, and 86% of it occurred on Trump's watch.
May have. They don't know. There's no proof.
Changpeng Zhao, CEO of Binance, pled guilty to U.S. anti-money laundering violations.
Okay, and oh my gosh, I pulled every single one of these. Like I'm not even kidding. Let's see. So what did he actually plead guilty to? He pled guilty to failing to maintain an effective anti-money laundering program. So he didn't have a program in place to prevent money laundering. Not that money laundering happened.
Pardoned by Trump. Todd and Julie Chrisley, convicted of bank fraud, tax evasion, and wire fraud. Pardoned.
Yep. What did they do? Let's see. Yep. So the pardons were granted amid claims of prosecutorial, that's a fun word, prosecutorial misconduct and concerns of selective prosecution. So they felt like they didn't get a fair trial.
Pardoned by Trump. Devin Archer, convicted of defrauding a Native American tribe.
What did he do? Oh yeah, okay. So that was part of the deal for him to testify against the Bidens. So that was part of a plea deal. That's why that happened. Too many tabs.
Of $60 million. Pardoned by Trump. Trevor Milton, CEO of Nikola, convicted of securities and wire fraud regarding lying to his investors.
Yep. This one I'm not a fan of. It sounds like he said some stuff, did some like demos of his truck that he was building that might have exaggerated the capabilities. So really what it comes down to is because of this short seller here putting out a report with no evidence, just accusing Milton of making these false statements, which, I mean, realistically, he probably was, just saying. It tanked the stock, and everyone was pissed off about it. And the SEC decided to launch an investigation, and he served his time. Like he paid his bill, he did the $1 million fine, and because of the First Step Act and the this program that he was on, he did his 1 year in prison. So I think what happened here is, I'm assuming, again, don't shoot me, just assuming, that Trump looked at that and said, if these douchebags here didn't throw out this report with no evidence, and if they hadn't have tanked the stock, none of this would have happened. So kind of a victim of circumstances, I feel like. Keep going.
Pardoned by Trump. Joseph Lewis, insider trading. Pardoned by Trump.
Yep, this is another one. This guy, where did he go? This guy. All right. So this guy was convicted of insider trading, but it was part of his plea. He admitted to, let's see. Yeah, he admitted to passing non-public information about companies to personal assistants, friends, romantic partners. And I think I looked at the court paperwork too. I guess he told his private pilot about some stuff. And so he did a plea deal to pay a $5 million fine. And Trump pardoned him because he's not even an American citizen. He's a British billionaire who's 88 years old. And because of the conviction, the plea deal that he did, I guess he was barred from traveling back to the United States. So the only reason why Trump pardoned him was so that he could get medical treatment and to visit his grandchildren in the United States. Like, it's not that big of a deal. He pled guilty and paid his fine. Leave the old guy alone. I'm surprised he's not dead. I had to Google it. I'm like, is this guy dead yet? And no, he's still alive. Anyway, next.
David Gentile, $1.6 billion Ponzi scheme. Sentence commuted by Trump. Adrian.
Okay, yep. What was this one? And this one, I feel like this one was just a politically motivated. So it was the New York attorney, Letitia James, had sued them. And we know Letitia James has just got so many problems. But even though it was disclosed to investors, the Biden Department of Justice claimed it was a Ponzi scheme. It was undercut by the fact that GPB had explicitly told investors what would happen, as in they were going to reuse their investments, their capital for more investments. And the government was unable to tie any supposedly fraudulent representations to this Mr. Gentile guy. So basically, they couldn't actually prove anything back to him. And Letitia James is the one that started all this. And you know the history between Letitia James and Trump. So, Trump pardoned them. Next.
Brianna Camberos, convicted of conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud for a $49 million counterfeit 5-hour energy scheme. Pardoned by Trump twice.
Yeah, I looked hers up. This one is dumb. He probably doesn't even know who this lady is. Yep. So here she is. So long story short, Adriana and her, I think it was her husband, had this idea where they were going to buy a bunch of 5-hour energy drink bottles, and they told the manufacturer that they were going to be selling these in Mexico, so they got them at like a cut rate or something. But they ended up just reselling them in the United States, and it says here supposedly they were counterfeited labels and filled the bottles with a phony liquid. So I don't know why these people were pardoned. It's probably one of those people that you ask Trump, like, hey, do you know these people? And Trump's like, never heard of them, if I had to guess. Whatever. Next. Yeah,
Mark
I'll
Rossini,
give you that one. That one's
conspiracy to
done.
violate the Federal Election Campaign Act by bribing the Puerto Rican governor, pardoned by Trump.
Yep, so this guy, this one is this one. So Rossini. So long story short, there was some accusations that he was offering to bribe officials. And rather than going to court and having to deal with the whole legal process, he just took a plea deal. So I mean, you can find the court documents. He took a plea deal for willfully facilitating or expressing an implied promise to make a contribution in connection with the new Progressive Party's primary election for governor of Puerto Rico, aggregating more than $2,000. That's it. Yep. And I think the reason why Trump pardoned him was he was one of the main FBI guys that was tracking Al Qaeda movements leading up to the 9/11 terrorist attack. Is why I think he pardoned him.
George Santos admitted to wire fraud, aggravated identity theft, making false statements to the FEC, and fraudulent unemployment claims. Sentence commuted by Trump.
Yep.
Trump.
Let's see. So he commuted. Anyway, so I guess he did this one just cause. If we're just being completely honest, but that's not any different than Joe Biden pardoning, giving future pardons to people. Like, what are we talking about? Like, this is ridiculous. I don't even know. What else we have going on here? Let's see.
Coin scamming his supporters with a crypto rug pull.
So I don't feel like he scammed anybody. It's a meme coin. Like everyone knows that meme coins are garbage trash. You're either holding the bag or you're making money. And some people got screwed. Sorry, they did. Let's see. They did make some money on the trading fees. Not gonna lie, but how's that any different than anything else? I mean, Trump made money selling tennis shoes, for crying out loud. If people want to get on the hype train and buy worthless meme coins, that's on them, I guess.
Trump phone took people's money and promised made in America phones, and all they've delivered are refurbished iPhones and Samsung phone.
So this is an interesting one. I didn't know anything about this. I had to look it up. So apparently what they're doing here, and this isn't Donald Trump, this is, oh gosh, how many things do I have open? I had the actual website pulled up, I guess. Oh yeah, this is it. I'm sorry. So basically what this is the Trump kids basically started a cell phone company. It's almost identical to Ryan Reynolds' Mint Mobile. It's just Trump Mobile. Like it's it's not that big of a deal. You buy a SIM kit and you put it in your phone. Now they did down here, right here. So they are offering up this Trump T1 phone. And they've mentioned a few times here. So the plan is to have it manufactured in the United States. However, they have not been able to do that yet. Let's see. So the current one, it says it's a reskinned Chinese-made Revel 7 Pro 5G. However, where did I see that at? Oh, yeah, okay. Yep. So it missed its planned release in 2025, and it stated the delay was caused by the government shutdown, and then it's going to be mid to late January. And as of January 13th, so about a month ago, the Trump mobile website continues to start the T1 film will be released later this year. It says up here that basically there's a lack of existing U.S. facilities for such manufacturing. So until you've got the actual people that can make the phone, you're not going to have a phone.
Trump's net worth has increased by over $3 billion since he became president.
Yeah, and this is mainly due to True Social going public. It's over $2 billion just in True Social. And then he's got a few crypto coins, the meme coin that you talked about. Yeah.
Not to mention the plot to steal the 2020 election by forging 7 slates of fraudulent electors and attempting to have them cast their votes for him in states where he lost. So when you...
Okay, this one. This is a whole can of worms. So, easiest way to explain this is you had a couple states where the election was so close that they organized a set of electors to go ahead and issue their votes for that state under the assumption that Trump was going to challenge the results of those elections. There's a video, actually, it talks about what happened in... Which one was that one? Yeah, in Hawaii.
Some defenders of the former president have pointed to one historical example, they say, the 1960 presidential election.
50s.
That's when the votes in the state of Hawaii were so close between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon, even a month after Election Day, that both slates of electors, the Democrats and Republicans, offered up their votes at the post-Election Day meeting. The big difference, as experts point out, the results in Hawaii were actually in question.
So that's what was going through the minds of the electors in those states, and it was mainly Georgia and I think Michigan. Was it Michigan or Wisconsin? I don't know. One of them. Doesn't matter. I can find it. Hold on. Let me pause. Okay, yeah. So it started in Wisconsin, and the two main states in question were Wisconsin and Georgia. And so what happened is these people got together, thinking about that Hawaii example as kind of like their rubric, and they organized, got their electors set up in order to get the signatures on paper so that if the elections were challenged and overturned, they already had the electors on paper. That's pretty much the gist of it. This is actually a really cool website. This is lawforward.org. And it's left leaning, so like everything is like ABC and let's see what's down here. Yeah, Associated Press, CNN, MSNBC, NPR, Washington Post. It's all left leaning stuff, but you can clearly, or at least I can clearly decipher out what the bias is and what the facts are. And it's got like the text messages and everything too, which is pretty cool actually. And it lines it out, I feel like, pretty good if you can dig through the shit. But yeah, that's pretty much what it was. And that ran all the way up to January 6th, basically. They kept talking about January 6th because that was going to be the deadline for Pence to certify the election or not. And basically, Pence and Trump didn't get along anyway. So when it came down to it, and he's like, no, I don't want to listen to your nonsense, and I'm going to certify Joe Biden. And that was pretty much the end of it. And then you have all the, the legal fallout on the backside. Let's see. I thought there was... Oh, gosh. We are years after. Oh, gosh. Yeah. And so now you've got, after January 6th, you have the new administration taking over, and you've got all the fallout from January 6th. And so suddenly the Biden administration is going after all of these, quote, fake electors. They had the January 6th committee and all that stuff. And it's a big ball of worms is what it is. I don't think it was anything that was intentionally trying to overthrow an election. I think it was a preemptive move to try to challenge the election in a couple of these states. And unfortunately, let's see, this guy, was it this guy maybe? I don't know. One of these guys thought it was a great idea to send it out to the other states, and then some of the other states, yeah, who's this guy? Chessa bro. Cheese bro here. Anyway, so they decided to send it out to all these other states, and then they all on their own kind of copied what Wisconsin and Georgia did. So it essentially, I mean, it looks like, because I guess it was a big conspiracy, but I think it was with the best intentions to try to get in front of the legal challenge to the election. But like I said, on the backside, you get the legal spin from the January 6th committee and the new Biden administration coming in, and just everyone hated Trump back then. So it was kind of like, how can we just stick it to him and make sure he never runs again kind of thing? And then, gosh, you've got the whole can of worms of the, maybe there was some fraudulent votes in there. You look at the number of votes by year. Oh, you can't even see it all the way. I'm dumb. How do I fix this? There we go. So in 2020, the Democrats got, Joe Biden got over 81 million votes. Like, we've never had that many people vote before. And then if you look at even the next year, which I'm sure a lot would argue is even more controversial. Where is it? I lost it. I'm so bad at this. Yeah. With Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, it went back down by the winning candidate almost 10 million votes difference. Like, where did those 10 million people go? Did they just disappear? Poof? I don't know. So then we come back to Georgia, and so there was all the accusations of voter fraud, and they found out that a lot of the machines, the tabulators, weren't reset, so there was a bunch of added votes, and the FBI has gone in and seized the 2020 election ballots, and kind of going full circle to the Minnesota thing. Like, they also were going in and seizing the voting documents there, so they can try to get to the bottom of how fraudulent were the elections. Were they actually stolen? And everyone's freaking out and in arms and whatever, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, if they take the ballots and they find out that there's no fraud, then there's no fraud. Like, who cares? Let them do it. Let them have the oversight. And then you start going down the rabbit hole of potentially the election getting stolen because of the Venezuelan operated voting machines, and that's why Trump really went after Maduro. I mean, we're gonna go into like Looney Tune land or something. I don't subscribe to all of that conspiracy stuff, but who knows? Everything else that's been a conspiracy the last 10 years has come true. Like, what a wild timeline we're in. What's even going on?
And anyone else tell me that the reason you hate Tim Walz is because of the fraud. Meanwhile, there doesn't...
Yeah, no, nobody hates Tim Walz because of the fraud. Everyone dislikes Tim Walz because he's Tim Walz. He's the most soy cuck, unmasculine retard ever. And he was almost vice president. That just... Oh my gosh, what we avoided total disaster.
Doesn't seem to be a peep out of any of you for this Trump stuff.
I just covered the Trump stuff. Aside from one thing that you mentioned that I would call questionable, the rest of it seems kind of normal. And again, if you're going to compare apples to apples here, look at all the people that Joe Biden pardoned preemptively, just in case they do something wrong. That's just bananas.
It's so incredibly frustrating, it makes me want to tear my fucking skin off.
Do it.
There
Do
is
it.
one thing that Leaflet said that I do, unfortunately, find myself agreeing with quite often.
I don't know how you live in the same country like that. You know, like I think it's so obvious to me now that there really is such a cultural divide. There really is such a great cultural divide now that it almost feels like being a part of the same country is just impossible.
You know, it's pretty funny that a response I keep getting over and over to this previous video is, stop complaining, people voted for this, which is insane to me because most of you can't even accept the results of the 2020 election when it was investigated and litigated.
Yeah, everyone accepts that Joe Biden was president in 2020 and it was terrible. Like that's just the reality. Sorry.
More than any other election in modern US history. So yeah, you have a point. I often find myself wondering how I am supposed to just act normal and go on with my life in this country with people who support this awful administration. And
It's really simple. You just act normal and go about your life normally. There's nothing hard about this.
it's unprecedented assault on our democracy and our
What assault on the democracy do you guys keep talking about? I don't see any assaults on any democracies.
this detached from reality. I really hope you all snap out of it pretty soon, because believe it or not, I actually have too much to live for to die in some bullshit civil war because you people can't bring yourself to stop supporting this awful piece of shit.
There's not gonna be a civil war. What are you talking about?
So, when I first wrote the script for this video, I will admit, it had a lot more swearing and a lot more name calling in it. But
Yeah.
one of my friends told me about something. Hank,
You know, honestly, I appreciate the reflection. You know, you can say things out of anger and throw out a bunch of personal attacks. At the end of the day, like it doesn't help. Like everyone needs to have these kind of conversations and have that open dialogue and have the battle of the wits, we call it. But at the end of the day, we live in a democratic republic, and unfortunately, the majority makes the laws. And for someone I consider myself like a centralist. I mean, hell, in the 90s, I was a Democrat. But everything has shifted so far to the... Hold on, wait, let me pause it. Let me find it. Hold on. This is me in a nutshell, except like take the year back to 1992. 1992, 1993 for Clinton. Like, this is me. Like, I'm very much left, liberal, Democrat. And then as the years progressed, like, what happened? What happened? Now all these people are so far left, they think that if you're not walking around wanting to kill ICE, that you're somehow a Nazi fascist. Like, I don't get it. Like, what happened? You can come back. Oh, boy. Anyway, I'm still here in the middle. It's just, like I said, things have shifted so far left that my democratic views from the 90s are somehow right wing now? Like, what happened? Oh, geez. Oh, well. Anyway, that's, gosh, this is a long video. I'm gonna have to cut this down. Who wants to watch this garbage? I sure don't. Anyway, so that's Jackson. I don't know. I don't have anything, like, personally against them, but sometimes the left side is just so unreasonable. No one's out to get you. No one wants to kill you. No one is abducting the citizens off the street and murdering people like a Gestapo. There's no Nazi plot. Not everyone's a racist. Like, you guys just simmer down. Like, what is gonna take? Maybe you guys just need some medication. Anyway, simmer down. And gosh dang it, I need to go to bed. Why am I wasting my time with this? I feel stupid now.